All right.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. I see a lot of you were on a bit early, so you've been watching us and hearing us chat, but thank you for being early birds. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle Salerno, and I head the marketing team here at Celerant. I work out of our main office, which is in New York. And I'm super excited to introduce everybody to our partner locally. We've been partnered with locally for a couple of years now. And more recently, we enhanced our integration. And so before I introduce the gentleman on this call, just a quick note about locally. Me being in marketing, I'm super excited about this integration. It is a no brainer and it is a tremendous value to our independently owned retailers. Um, and to boot, we're not charging anything for this integration. So it's literally costing you nothing. Nothing on our side, nothing on the locally side. Of course, if and when you do pull back orders, there is a small fee there. But as far as pushing your inventory from our point of sale to locally to leverage the brands of products you're already selling, such as Yeti, Patagonia. I mean, there's just a tremendous list of brands being able to sell your merchandise on the major brands website, get your business in front of new local customers. The SEO value for your retail shop is just tremendous. And then the original part of our integration was pushing your inventory to locally, which on our side cost you nothing. It's a value add. And now we've enhanced that so you can actually pull back orders into your software called Pushcart. That there is a small fee for the Pushcart integration, but you don't have to use the Pushcart to pull back the orders. You can accept the orders via email or text, and then in that case, it again costs you nothing on the Celerant side. So with that, I introduce to you Tom and Chris from Locally, who are going to talk more about this and specifically talk about this awesome promotion that they have, which I think expires tomorrow. Um, we did send out quite a few emails about it because, as you can see, I'm extremely excited about this. But the promotion is syncing your inventory with Google to really help you win those local searches. You know, Yeti coolers near me, you want to come up organically. And so this is how you'll do it. So, with that, Tom, Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Michelle. I'll do a quick intro for myself, and then Chris, I'll let you say hey, and then I'd love to give a little background on locally for anybody who doesn't know. But it's great to meet everybody. I appreciate you jumping on. I'm Tom Whalen. I am the retailer sales manager here at Locally. I've been with Locally about 5 years now, based out of New Orleans, where where our CEO's got a few stores as well. Thanks for being on, and Chris, I'll let you say hey.
Great. I'm Chris Lytle. I'm actually the CEO of DBA Platform, and we're a partner of Locally, and we power the Google experience on the back end. Prior to joining DBA Platform last year, I spent 10 years at Google, where I work specifically on this local inventory product solution. So really excited to be chatting with you all today about it and just making it easier for folks to take advantage of this free real estate that Google's offering to you.
Awesome. All right, let me pull up this demo here. Let me know. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So I'd love to start off with just a little background on Locally for anybody who doesn't know. So Locally, we were founded about 10 years ago. We were founded by retailers, much like yourselves, group of retailers who noticed that shoppers were going online before shopping in their store. Google's put out some stats, or maybe it was Business Insider, something like 80% of sales are still happening at brick and mortar stores. And 90% of shoppers are going online before going into a store. So there's this disconnect between people shopping locally and people starting their shopping journey online, right? And so our founders saw this disconnect, and that's kind of where Locally was born out of. And so there's a number of ways that Locally helps online shoppers find and buy products at your physical stores, right? So one that Michelle was touching on was through brand websites. So Locally's partnered with about 350 brand partners like Patagonia, Yeti, Brooks Running, all types of different industries. And we're able to take shoppers from those brand sites, whether it's through maybe their store locator or through a product page, maybe below the add to cart button, there's a find it locally button. Beyond that, we can also help shoppers, find your inventory on locally.com. We've got our own site. And the kind of a newer, and what I think is one of the coolest ways is through Google, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, I think I'll pass it over to Chris here. You want to get it rolling?
And Chris, you're on mute.
Chris, I think you're muted.
Well, while Chris fixes that, I did forget to mention that feel free to ask questions. There's a chat box at the bottom, and you can submit any questions you have at the end. We'll take some time to go through those. And of course, we are also recording the session, so everybody will get the recorded link afterwards.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
So the agenda real quick, we're gonna start off with online and local shopping, and then talk about the importance of this growing trend of consumers doing near me searches. And then because Google are the folks that are seeing those searches come in, we're going to talk a little bit about how Google has responded to that opportunity. And then finally, how locally is making it really easy for folks to take advantage of this opportunity from Google. And then we'll end up with some Q&A. So, and I think Tom, really kind of framed this up really well, which is, the online to local is really bringing together the best of e-commerce and the best of local shopping. And what we're finding is that, consumers are more and more doing their research before they go to a store. So the good old days when they would, we would pile in the car and drive around to a couple of shopping centers looking for that item are over. People are much more intentional about what they're doing. So while they're still shopping at brick and mortar stores, which is great, we all love that, we also need to be available to them when they're doing their research before they take that actual brick and mortar shopping journey. And so what we've really seen at Google, which is really exciting, is this massive growth in near me searches. And over the past 5 years, is probably about a 600% growth in searches like this. And if you guys are ever interested in looking at the growth in search volume, Google has a great tool called Google Trends. You can put all kinds of stuff in there. It's a great tool for doing this type of analysis. But what's been going on though is that as this change in consumer behavior has really taken off, and particularly with the pandemic, where folks were really trying to be very intentional with their shopping and not go to a bunch of locations, Google recognized all this behavior, and they've really been creating a bunch of solutions that take advantage of that. And starting right here with the local inventory ads that are right here available. So, if I do that search for Brooks shoes, people are starting to go to Google to do that search. And at the very top, there are those ads that come at the top called local inventory ads. But we also have some other places where the inventory data shows up as well. And so what's really cool is that when you think about the way that Google search generally works, Google spiders the internet, they look at your website, they take information about that website, bring it back to an index. And then when somebody comes and does a search, it looks through the index for the best page. The problem is that Google doesn't know what's in your store at any moment, right? So there needs to be some cooperation between the retailer and Google, where the retailer is providing Google with a snapshot of what's available in a store at a given moment. And that's exactly where this partnership comes into play. We're making it easier for folks to do that. And when the inventory goes up to Google, I already showed you where it shows up on the ads, but it also shows up in the Google just organic search results. So when I do that search that Michelle referred to, that Yeti cooler near me, when it's determining which of the stores show up in that little Maps 3-pack, it's using inventory feeds to determine who the best person is to send that to. And then also on your Google My Business listing, you can actually now search for inventory right within there and then click through to your locally landing page. Finally, there's the shopping property. If folks aren't really familiar with that, shopping.google.com, and there's free listings that show up there. And then Google Assistant, if you use Google Assistant, either by talking to your phone, or if you have a Google Nest device on your, sitting on your kitchen counter, and you ask it where to find Takis near me, that information is being fed by that one feed. So there's a lot of value of just getting that one feed in there. It shows up on a lot of surfaces on Google.
Awesome. And Chris, I have an example here. I'm in New Orleans. I searched buy Yeti near me. Is this that 3-pack that you were talking about here?
Exactly. And so this is really critical real estate. When we always talk about the old days of search engine optimization, you wanted to be above the fold on the first page, right? For local, this is what it's all about. This 3-pack is really critical. And so when you see those two locations that have the blue checkbox that say in stock Yeti cooler updated 1 day ago, those blue checkboxes indicate that an inventory feed was provided that made Google aware of that being the case. And it's really critical. And what you see in most cases, if you do a search for Yeti cooler near me, you're going to find people like Dick's Sporting Goods dominating that because, for the most part, it's kind of a pain to do this, to be honest with you. And what's great about this is that the partnership we're talking about here today takes away all of that complexity, right? So you're going to be able to do all the things that the big guys do with it being very passive to you, without having to put forward that effort. And by the way, Tom referenced that the founder of Locally owns some sporting goods stores. Massey's Outfitters, the #1 result, is one of those, right? Otherwise, it would be dominated by Dick's and people like that, Ace Hardware, those kind of things. So what we're going to do with this partnership is we're going to get you that blue checkbox.
That's right. Yeah, and also with these shopping results too. So something else I wanted to show was that in addition to the instant verification that Chris was talking about there, where you don't have to manually verify inventory accuracy because DBA and Locally have been approved by Google and kind of passed those tests. What we can also do is direct shoppers directly to a checkout option on Locally's site. So this is a stores your company, your store .com here on Locally, where these buy now, pick up at store, reserve online, pay at store options, or even same day delivery are available one click, in from Google. And I've used this feature before, and I think from the time I ordered it to when it was dropped off by a courier, we're partnered with Uber. We're looking to partner with Shipt soon as well. Time I ordered it to when it was delivered was 22 minutes, which I think is just going to blow same day, next day, 2 day shipping out of the water, any day of the week. So that's kind of what the experience looks like on Google there.
So, it's very much in line with what we think about Google's core mission is, right? Organizing the world's information and making it accessible and useful. And this is just another example of that, right? They want people to go to Google to start their local shopping journeys. And so they're going to continue to invest heavily in this. And it's a great opportunity for you to take advantage of this free real estate.
Perfect. So how this integration works, the first piece is linking Celerant to Locally. So as Michelle was saying earlier, we have a phenomenal integration with Celerant that makes it really easy for your UPCs to get sent to Locally. So you do need to be using UPCs in your point of sale system. And how it works is those codes are sent to Locally. We're able to match it to the hundreds of catalogs that we have in our system. And if we're missing some catalogs or products that you want to show, we can easily load those in with you. And then those products are then kind of disseminated out. Think of it as kind of a hub and spoke solution here. So Locally being the hub, and then the spokes are all of those brand sites, locally.com, and then Google. And so this in-between portion here is where DBA platform, where Chris comes in, and we're able to take all that catalog information, have it instantly approved with Google and piped into all of those solutions that we saw on the last slide, Google Shopping, and the 3-pack and everything like that.
And if I can just jump in quickly on this slide, just for clarity's sake. So the part there that you see Celerant's logo, so that's the part I was referencing earlier that is no charge to you. We have an inventory push, and we've had this for quite a few years now, where within our software, you don't have to do anything. Our software is pushing the inventory and on hands to Locally in the way in which they need it, so that then they can do all of this.
Exactly.
Now,
right.
we did have, I know I said questions at the end, but we do have an important question that I did want to just ask at this point because, as everybody on the call knows, at Celerant, we serve a lot of different retail markets, one of which is the sportsman industry, so hunt, camp, fish. So the question here is, we all know that Google does not like sportsman stores for the firearms. Can you help get these stores to market on Google?
Yeah, that, as you can imagine, is a policy decision that is made by people in San Francisco.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm going to change their mind.
Now, let me ask you this. If we have a sportsman store who a lot of those stores sell full line, they're selling Yeti coolers, they're selling, a lot of these different brands that we're talking about. For those specific products, it would work,
100%. They just,
right?
they just have restrictions on certain product categories that, are, you know, political decisions that are made, frankly, over there. But Yeti coolers don't fall. So if there are items that don't fall under their prohibitions, we can go ahead and send those.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah, and I can also speak to the transaction piece of this. So and just to take a step back and like look at really what's required to make this happen. We need the products from Celerant, and then we need your stores to be accepting orders for store pickup. So we use Stripe as our payment processor. Stripe, similarly to Google, isn't always favorable on gun shops, but locally does have a reserve online pay in store feature that allows you to still accept orders while being a firearms retail front. So buy online, pick up in store, just because of how the payments processed may not be a great solution for firearms dealers, but we do still have that reserve online pay in store option. So yes, with even if you sell firearms, you could still have your Yeti, and your Merrill or any other soft or hard goods, push to Google. Cool. So how Celerant syncs with locally. I can run through these steps quick. Michelle, if you want to add anything, please do. But you do have to have Stratus Enterprise or Cumulus Retail. You're going to want to just make sure that you've got UPCs or EAN codes in Celerant. And then it's really just 2 steps after that. So you'll create FTP, file transfer protocol credentials within locally. It's just going to be a username and a password. And then you're going to send those along with your Celerant credentials, which is your email and password /token, to your implementation manager at Celerant. And if you don't know who that is, you can email this email here. And again, we're going to send this PDF out after this call for you guys. And then after that, everything else happens behind the scenes. So locally works with Celerant to get everything wired up and get the feed processing there.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you can email me as well. My name is there on the screen. I think it should be. And it's msalerno@celerant.com. That's my email. We have a nice onboarding document too that has all this, but also much more with screenshots. And so I'm more than happy to send that to you as well for anyone who's interested. And of course, connect you with your account rep here just to talk more about it. If you wanted to kind of talk more, learn more, if you are interested in doing the push cart, which is the second piece of pulling back the orders into the Celerant software. That's the newer piece, which Tom, you're probably going to get to. But that piece, you would speak with your sales rep. It's a $25 per month fee. So it's a very small fee for that piece. But like I said earlier, you could still be accepting orders with locally and accept them via email or text message. But if you want to pull them back and have it fully integrated and automated into Celerant, then you would speak with your sales rep for that part.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle. All right. So that was step 1. And that's where we're getting the inventory, the UPCs from Celerant. Step 2 is enabling what we call buy it locally. This is our transaction piece. So to do that, you would head over here. We've got this landing page for buy it locally where you can learn more. Now here's where that fee comes into play that Michelle mentioned. So, syncing your inventory to locally is free. Syncing your inventory to Google is free. There's a 3.5% network fee when you make a sale, only when you make a sale. So if there's a return or a cancellation, or there's no transaction at all, there's no fee associated with that. So you would just go to enable buy it locally here. It's going to take you to Locally's dashboard. If you've got multiple stores, and actually let me back up here. If you haven't set up your Locally account, you'll do that here. It's much like claiming a Google business account or a Yelp page or something. So you'll want to run through that step first. And then to enable buy it locally, you hop over here. It is piecemeal. You can pick, do I want to do payments only, reservations only? This is that solution that is good for firearms dealers, as I mentioned earlier. And then from there, you'll set up your, oops, not that, your notification schedule. Where we go. This is where we send those orders to. So you put a cell phone number in and an email address where we can send those alerts to. Now, to Michelle's point earlier, if you want those orders directly into your Celerant point of sale system, that'll be something you let us know in this last step down here. Then you would just get them piped right in. You wouldn't have to be managing those orders via text or email. So it's a really, really slick solution. And for 25 bucks a month, I think it's worth it. But moving on, here's where you put in a credit card. This is where we bill that 3.5% fee once a month. And we do collect, and remit sales tax for you guys here. So that's done automatically, on your behalf. So you would just lop that total amount, owe it off at the end of the month. We'd send you a statement there. Now, if you're doing BOPIS, the buy online, pick up in store option, you'll just connect a Stripe account here. That's so you can get paid via direct deposit. All right. And then the last step is making sure that you've given us your store hours, which you can go here, and then filling out this form to let us know that you're ready to test, and we'll run a test with you to make sure that you're receiving all your orders. So that's everything right here. Let's see. And then once you're live with transactions, it's just adding the Google integration to Locally. So there's a form on this page that you'll fill out for the sake of brevity. I know we're running a little low and we want to leave some room for questions. So you'll go here. It's just a form you fill out, and then we'll connect you with DBA platform, and we'll get that sync going so that your products are sent to Google.
And so one thing to add there. So for the Google integration, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, typically it's $45 a month on your side for that sync, but the promotion that Locally is offering, which is exclusive to our Celerant clients, is they're getting that at no charge. And they're getting that at no charge for as long as they're working with you at Locally, right?
That's right. Yeah. So if you sign up by tomorrow and claim your spot, implementation takes about a week or two sometimes, but if you claim your spot by tomorrow, it's actually normally 49 bucks a month. So it's just under $600 a year in savings. So, and that is for Celerant retailers. Yeah.
And the most exciting part that I just want to highlight is these sales coming into your business. These are potentially new customers to you, new local customers who otherwise would have never found your business. They're finding your business because they're just searching on Google for a particular product near them, or they're searching via the major brand's website. So you can really leverage all the marketing and SEO of that major brand. And there's just tremendous value for your SMB business, gaining new customers, additional sales, and then hopefully keeping those customers for life.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we all know the conversion rate in store is much higher than an e-commerce conversion rate. And when people come into the store, there's about an 80 or 85% chance they're going to buy something else when they're in there. So these are all, I mean, from what we've seen, it's all supplemental sales from brand sites, from Locally, from Google, all that good stuff.
And one more cool point to mention on the Celerant side, you don't have to have e-commerce to do any of this. So this integration that we've built with Locally is purely a point of sale integration, both the inventory push and pulling back the push cart, pulling back in the orders. So even if you don't have a Celerant e-commerce site, you can do all of this and be selling online via Locally.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And we saw a lot of success, over the pandemic with retailers who didn't have e-com sites who were able to do curbside and BOPIS and stay open that way. So we've got some questions here. I think the first one that we haven't answered is from Mike. So Mike, you said Locally is getting the UPC and the on-hand quantity. where's the catalog data coming from? We have lots of small vendors. So that's a great question. So we locally has catalogs from all of the vendor partners that we have whose websites we're able to help you sell from, right? That's about 300, 350 brands. We also have another 200 or 300 catalogs that we've helped source in situations like these where, if we don't already have the data, all we really need is like a PO or, an order form with a list of those UPCs, and we'll build the catalog out, on your behalf so that you're able to show those products. In other situations, maybe it's possible that we ingest an e-commerce feed or something, but if that's the case, be sure to just reach out to our support team, support@locally.com, and let them know that that's the case, and we can work with you to get that catalog information covered. Mike, you had another question. Can we start with reservations only and add the Celerant and/or pushcart integrations later? So absolutely. So you could start just with reservations. You could start just with purchases. You can opt into the pushcart integration at any time. I'm not sure, Michelle, is there any commitment with the Celerant pushcart integration?
I think it's 12 months, I think, but I'll have to check. And Mike, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
But you can absolutely get started without the push cart, and you can just accept those orders from locally via text message or email. It's just not integrated with the software. You'll have the inventory push, which is integrated and costs nothing on our side. And then you can get the orders that way. But if you want to then take that next step and have the orders integrated in the software, that's where the push cart integration comes into play.
Exactly right. All right. From Anonymous, we've got, if we sync inventory to Google, does this open up new ad opportunities? Chris, I'll let you speak to that one.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And I think the first slide where we kind of talked about this showed the local inventory ad. So, we've talked about the Yeti example a lot because it's a good one. If you do a search for Yeti cooler near me, the ads that show up at the very top of the page, those are local inventory ads. And what's interesting about those is that in those ads, not only are you competing locally, but you're competing with online retailers as well, right? So you don't always have to type in near me. So if I do a search for on my phone, it's more likely to trigger an inventory ad. So I might just do a search for Brooks running shoes, and at the very top of that, it'll trigger a local inventory ad. Or if there aren't local inventory ads, if there aren't people running local inventory ads, e-commerce ads show up at the top of there, right? So that's part of the thing too, is that, when you guys take that inventory, that's an e-commerce provider who isn't getting it.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. We got a question here from Amy. So if we have multiple locations across states, do we create a locally account for each location? So the answer there is no. So it's one account for all your stores. I'll show you. I'm gonna have to sign out of my account here, but if you click claim your account here, you type in your company name, and then kind of how the structure works is you could have any number of user logins attached to a company and any number of stores attached to that company as well. So with one company, you can have a single credit card for billing and a single Stripe account for all of your locations. Or, if you run things financially different from store to store, we can set that up so that you've got different company accounts for each store. Either way, we're flexible, Amy. So if that's the case, or if you guys don't see, if I'm running store, if you don't see your store here in the dropdown, again, shoot us an email, support@locally.com. We'd be happy to make sure that your stores are set up properly and you've got all the right locations under that company.
And worth noting also on the Celerant side, so when we push out your available inventory, we're pushing it at the store level. And then when we're pulling back in the orders via pushcart, if you've opted into pushcart, we're pulling it in from locally and we're routing it to the proper store. So that's all done behind the scenes.
Exactly. I realize, I'm sorry, Linda, I skipped over your question here. So does this product work the same as Pointy in regard to showing on Google? Pointy does not do the sale part. So that's right. So Pointy, to my understanding, well, actually, Chris, you could probably answer this better.
Yeah, so it does work like Pointy. The difference is that Pointy is going to lead you to, when you click on the link, it's going to go to what's called a Google hosted local storefront, which is kind of like a kind of auto-generated landing page. It doesn't have anywhere near the functionality that the that the Locally page does. It isn't branded like the Locally page does. You don't get analytics like the Locally page gives you. So I think most importantly, and Google will be the first people to tell you this, that those Google hosted local storefront pages don't convert as well as what they call merchant hosted local storefront pages, of which Locally's landing pages are one. Sorry, it's wonky.
There you go. All right. Let's see. Okay, so question from Bethany here. So if I understand right, it's possible to do an inventory push but not accept orders. So the customer's only option is to go in store. So so one requirement, we need the inventory piece. We do need an in-store pickup option. And then we need that connection to Google. So while Locally doesn't really have anything to do with putting things in a box and shipping it, you would have to have one of these transaction types here enabled so that the shopper has a way to actually buy it and pick it up at your store. Now that said, if you don't want to have this enabled, you can, you could still pay that $49 a month. But this helps you bypass that requirement. All right, and then Chris, this looks like a question to you. So to confirm what Chris just said, you have to have inventory sync to be able to run those local inventory ads, correct?
That's correct. So basically, the inventory feed is the most important part, and you get a bunch of organic things for free there, like the free shopping listings. You get the Google Assistant. You get the listing on the Google Business Profile. You get the opportunity to have your ranking come up higher in the 3-pack. The ads. The local inventory adds at the top, and it does require that you have that feed set up first.
All right. Question from Mike. If you don't have the brand's catalog integrated, but we're pushing the UPC, will the Google 3-pack listing still show the item as in stock or not? So we do need, like Google requires this as well, but we do need the catalog data in order to show that inventory on Google. So we would just need to find a way to work either with that vendor to get that catalog imported or source it from you guys directly. If you have the UPCs, we can build that catalog from there. So that's something we could work with you on to do.
And also Locally is working with a lot of these different vendors, and I'm happy to also jump in and try to help and try to introduce any of the vendors that maybe they're not working with to them. We've done that in the past as well.
Exactly right. All right, question from Liz. What if your merchandise isn't brand names, for example, jewelry?
Got to have a SKU. That's kind of that's a Google thing. So it's got to have a SKU. So that's why, a lot of like boutique items that are kind of locally generated, struggle a little bit. And it's funny, we've actually been there is a worldwide organization called GS1 that manages these universal G10s that drive everything. We've been working on a program potentially that would make it easier for small manufacturers to make those, to get those G10s. But basically when you think about it, it's got to have a SKU.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
All right. From Amber, our Celerant website is integrated with our distributors inventory. Will these items show up in the Google search, or is it just available for items that are in store today?
So that's a great question, and I can take that one, Tom.
Perfect.
So it will only be pushing the products that are currently in store on hand in your store. So it's not going to be pulling what you're showing as available on your website via your distributor feed. It's looking at your on-hand inventory at the store level.
Awesome.
And Tom, I had a quick question. If you could just share it. Sorry to put you on the spot here, but can you just share the link on your website that lists all the different brands that you all work with? I think that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, sure thing. So it's locally.com/brand-partners. And this is where you can see all the brands who have Locally's tools on their website. So those main tools are the store locator and then the product locator here. And and you can see who has what. Now, again, these are just our partners that that are helping to guide shoppers from their website into your store. We do have several hundred other catalogs, which I could send out, what we call marketplace catalogs, and we can include a link to those in our follow-up as well. And those are catalogs where you'd be able to show those products on Google, on locally.com, et cetera, but not necessarily from the brand's website.
Looks like we went over, but that's okay. We had some great questions. There's one more question there. Would the SKU number we have in Celerant work?
So again, we would need to, as long as it's a UPC that we could match to catalog data that's specific to the vendor, as in it's it's universal. We would be able to make that work. If it's a specific SKU that you generated in store, maybe while loading an inventory or something, we wouldn't be able to match that to anything. So that wouldn't be as good of a fit. But Liz, I'd advise you to definitely reach out to our support folks, support@locally.com. And if you can give us an example, maybe some of the SKUs you're referring to, we could let you know what we're able to do. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, a little bit over, but that's everything from me. Michelle, I can't thank you enough for having Chris and I on here and for marketing this and getting everybody on the call. I really appreciate everybody else who joined us as well. Thank you for all the awesome questions and for your time.
Thank you, everyone. And Tom, just share the link where they can go fill out the form to learn more on your side.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So here's the link. So it's to enable the Google integration, join.locally.com, tool add-ons, see what's in store. We'll send this out. It's a long link, I know.
It's a long link.
It's a long link. I know. We'll send this out in the store. I gotta talk to our link guy, get that shortened up. And that's where you can get started. And in our follow-up, you guys will all have my email, my direct email as well. So if you have any questions, please reach out. It's tom.whelan, and I'll just type that here for you guys just in case. tom.whelan@locally.com. Please shoot me an email with any questions you have, and be happy to help you.
And on the Celerant side, you can send me an email, msalerno@celerant.com. Happy to answer any questions that you might have on our side as well. And Tom, Chris, thank you so much for joining. And everybody, thank you for attending. And the recorded link will be coming soon. And we're looking forward to hopefully working with you on this project.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.